Today in this episode, we are going to do US stock investing. Now, I know a lot of you guys have given me this feedback and have also commented on my YouTube community saying that Shashank, can we also look at YouTube, US stocks? So today we're going to do a quick review of what I have invested in because this is something that I have bought. Again, this is not a buy or sell recommendation. But before we begin, let me tell you a quick story, right? So recently, from the month of March till April 15th, I was in US, right? I had a beautiful trip with my family. I had work as well, but it was also a family trip. So I went on a work basis and my family came along with me, both my wife and my son, and we had a beautiful journey. We went to SFO, we went to LA, we visited different places, beautiful restaurants. We also went to San Diego Zoo. It was just a wonderful experience. Now, whenever I go to US, I really enjoy going there. Not obviously to stay there. Given a choice, I would always stay in India. But when I go to US, I like seeing what is happening in that side of the world, right? Because that also gives me a lot of indication slash information that it can also happen in India. What is the next big trend that might play out? And all of these things also play out over there. So I keep my eyes open quite drastically when it comes to US, right? And this time, something very interesting happened because the aunt that I was staying with in SF, she basically works for Nvidia for a very long period of time. Almost 10 years she's been working in Nvidia, and that is where a journey basically started. Now, obviously, that is not the stock I've invested in, but let me give you more information when we start this video, right? Now, when I went there was this event that was happening with the founder of Nvidia called Nvidia GTC event, which was basically him showing the future of AI and future of networking, right? Now, this was very interesting because I sat there for almost 1.5 hours. I watched the entire GTC event over there live, and this is what I realized, okay? He basically was showing a vision. And what was that vision? He said, all of us are looking at a very small spectrum today. We're all looking like this. You have to broaden your horizon and look much further into the future. What he said is tomorrow, because of Internet of Things, because of AI coming into every single part of our lives, like today, I don't use Google much. I use ChatGPT much more than Google, right? He's saying because of this, there is something called tokens that happen in LLMs, right? So the more computing power, the more smarter they become, the more agentic AI comes, the more tokens, the more computing power is required. And that is where companies like Nvidia, AMD, and all of the other companies come into it. Now, what he's saying is, what you're looking at GPT and all of this is very small. He said, broaden your horizon. Think about 5-10 years into the future. Do you know that every single part of our lives will be AI enabled? For example, you go in a flight, we will have a lot of AI systems there. There will be GPU computing required in a flight. Tomorrow, your cars are going to be connected and there's going to be GPU computing in the cars. He said every single thing, whatever you take, there will be GPT computing or any kind of AI computing that will be there, whether it is industrial automation, whether it is human automation with robots, whether it is your learning modules, whether it's your agentic AI, every single part of your life will be enabled with AI, and AI requires a lot of computing power. So I was just sitting there and I'm like, wow, okay, now obviously I have to look further into the future because you don't make money in the short run. And I was like, if this actually plays out, which it will because it's inevitable, we are going to make a lot of money. So then I said, okay, let us try to find out and do some deep dive analysis of what are the companies that are there in this space and what is giving me a good risk reward ratio today. And that is what I'm going to do with you today, how I basically looked at the entire market share. Okay, so today we're going to do all of this in today's video. Oh, by the way, before we get into the video, let me give you some hacks because I also know that a lot of people are traveling abroad. A lot of you guys want to go abroad. You also spend a lot when you go abroad. So for everyone traveling abroad, you usually go put your debit card or use your credit card. You will spend a lot of money in these forex surplus charges and all of that. So for all the people who don't want to waste money on FX charges, you should definitely use a travel card like a Niyo credit card or a Niyo debit card, right? So this is a card that you can see here. It's a Niyo card that I have here, right here. So you can see this is something that you can use to go. Basically, every time you go to US or you go anywhere across the world, they will ask you to pay either in the local currency or in INR. You should always choose the local currency. Do not choose INR and don't do the conversion because the conversion rate given by them is insanely high. Right now, if you want to save a lot more money, you can use cards like Niyo. Basically, they have credit card and debit card, and they also have zero international forex markup charges. Even if you go to a ATM and withdraw money over there, let's say in US, You don't have to pay any conversion fee on this, right? Also, these cards, most international cards don't work on Uber Eats, Grab, but Niyo works on all of these apps because they have tie-ups with literally everyone. You also have contactless payment in this worth 20,000 rupees. And this is something I use a lot because if you keep going and buying coffee like me, just go tap, 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 tap. Yes, you'll have to spend a lot of money on tips, but that is how it is. So for all the people who are interested in this, I will put the link in the comment section below. Whether you want a debit card or a credit card, all you have to do is load money into it. It is very easy. You can use it in more than 180 different countries. You can get this delivered within 24 hours before you travel for your next journey, right? KYC also takes only 15 minutes to actually finish. So all of this will happen if you use this card. By the way, there's also a coupon code down. You can also use it. You can get 2,500 Niyo coins, which you can use to redeem for some good flights and all of that, right? So awesome. Now let's get back to the video. Now, first things first, when we look at the entire market, now obviously when I went to Nvidia GTC event, I was like, okay, this is a good market to be in. And Jensen Huang had actually predicted that after agentic AI, we will see robotic AI. Now, I did a lot of research on what are some good robotic companies in the market, listed companies in the market. The only company that came out from that was a company called ABB, but ABB was more into industrial automation. I was like, okay, which company is there that actually makes humanoid type of robots, right? And that was only Tesla right now, but Tesla, looking at the current market share and the volatility it has, I think I'm going to stay away from Tesla from most likely, right? Now, if you actually look at Nvidia and if you look at all the other companies, so there are a few companies that are creating a massive space in the game, right? One is Nvidia, one is Intel, which lost. It was in the CPU game, it lost. Then we have AMD, which is now entering the GPU game. But usually, if you look at GPU, Nvidia was always the king, along with AMD, when it comes to gaming PCs, right? Now, if you think about 10 years ago or 7 years ago, all the gamers who are here, you will know that Nvidia GeForce was something great. But Nvidia started pivoting more towards the data center, and they knew that AI will come and take over the entire market, right? So Nvidia actually planned it very well. And if you see how Nvidia is looking right now, it has actually fallen quite a bit. But Nvidia has actually gone up quite drastically in the last few years. Now, a lot of you guys might also be thinking that Shashank, Nvidia has gone up a lot. It is literally overvalued and all of that. Actually, contrary to popular belief, it is actually not overvalued. So I'll just show you something, right? Now, if you see this, you will see that Nvidia is sitting at $100 right now with a market cap of 2.4 trillion, and their average, their P ratio is sitting at 33.81 as of now, right? So 33.81 is actually okay. If you look at all the P ratios in our country, it is just unbelievable. Obviously, Intel is doing really bad. So if you look at a company like Intel, they'll be even further below. If you see Intel's P ratio is not even there because I think they're not doing a really good job. And also Intel right now is in a transition period. I heard that they're also coming out with their own fab units. We'll get into that a little bit deeper, right? Now, if you look at all of this, I said, okay, you know what, there's Nvidia, there's Broadcom, there's AMD. Now, what do I invest? Now, the logic says go and invest in Nvidia because Nvidia has the highest market share. And to understand this, you need to look at this graph. This basically made my decision. This is the data center GPU market share graph as of 2024. And if you look at this, Nvidia is sitting at 94% market share, and AMD is sitting at 4, and Intel is sitting at 1.8. Now, this graph basically made me think a lot. Now, what did it make me think? Okay, just like a normal investment banker would think like. I was like, boss, 94% market share in any business, which is high margin, is not going to sustain. That means Nvidia will not go more than 94, 95, and it is currently at its peak. So if I invest in Nvidia today, I'm actually investing at its highest margin period, and I'm also investing at its highest market share period. Over the next 5 years or 10 years, the market share may come down to maybe 60, 50. It will not go below that, but it may be 55, 60, 65. The margins will also get short, and whoever comes in the competition who can produce cheaper margins will definitely win the game. And then I said, okay, if I have to play the game, I would rather invest in one of those, which is AMD or Intel, that actually goes up the market share ladder, and then the P ratios will also come for that company and all of that. So if I come back to, let's say, AMD, it is sitting at 86 P ratio, which is obviously not very great, right? But they also had a massive problem with their revenues, and their revenues are not stable. Look at this. If I look at the annual revenues, their revenues are also not stable, and their PAT, which is the net income, is also not stable. And if I do the same thing for, let's say, Nvidia, you will see that both for Nvidia, the revenue and this, it's beautiful. That is why the premium is given to Nvidia, because you can see it is growing. But AMD is currently in this 2021 to 2023 phase. So that is what I was thinking, that okay, if I have to invest, what do I do? Then I said, let me take help of my beautiful AI agent, and let's make a deep dive analysis of AMD versus Nvidia as well. and let's understand how this works. So I used AI to do this. Obviously, I don't have the time to sit and make this. So this became a deep dive research analysis for me. Now, let me show this to you, right? You can see my screen. So basically, I wanted to do a deep dive into Nvidia and understand whether Nvidia and AMD, what is better, what is not good, and understand where is this game playing out in the next few years. Can AMD catch up? That was the main game. So what we saw is AMD has started doing a comeback. So I'll just go through the main points, right? AMD has started doing a comeback because they started getting a lot of what do you call that deals in the data center space, and they started taking it from big players like Google, Microsoft, Meta, and now started taking not just from Nvidia but also started taking from AMD, because the new chip apparently is doing very good and almost as close as an AMD chip itself, right? So what are the couple of things that came out that actually helped all of these chip making companies? One is the CHIPS Act, the $52 billion US CHIPS Act that came in, which helped the domestic people manufacture and do R&D. But the sad part is today every single chip, whether it's from AMD or whether it's from Nvidia, is not made in US. It is actually made by TSMC, right? It is made in Taiwan. But now, if you look at Intel, they are creating their own fab unit. I think around 3 to 4 fab units are coming in Arizona and few other places. Fab units is also equal to fabrication units. So they're like, we will make the Nvidia. Do you want data center? Do you want chips? I will make the chip for you in US. Obviously, it's going to be very expensive, but let us see what happens there, right? What about the industry outlook? Definitely AI demand is going to go only more and more and more. With agentic AI coming, it is just unbelievable. Like this entire report was also made by an agent, right? And it took a lot of tokens to make it. So the computing power for this is also very high. Now, if you look at the compute intensity, it is only growing. Edge computing growth is also happening. So we are going to start plugging in AI. We're still so like nascent stages. We still have to plug AI into so many things in our lives, right? So all of this is coming out. Now their business segments, if you look at this, AMD is in the data center space, client and gaming. And this is exactly what even Nvidia is in at that point, right? Now, most of the people to come back and actually fight against Nvidia, because Nvidia took a long time to build this, they started doing acquisitions. So for example, AMD did several strategic acquisitions. Xilinx 2022, 49 billion for this. Basically, this was adaptive computing capabilities. That was something that did really well. And this is actually doing well for them. So I'll talk about this a little bit more. But you can see they've done some heavy, grabs of companies, right? So the CPU, GPU, now they've come up with MI300 series. I think their MI300X is doing well right now. And if you look at the revenue is growing, but 1 year of degrowth, but their PAT is not looking very good, right? AMD, if you look at it, is more of a low cost player compared to Nvidia, that is a high cost player. Now I asked the AI also do a profitability metric analysis. So if you look at the gross margins, it is improving. Operating profit is very volatile, and this you can see the operating profit has actually dipped, which is not a great sign. Net margin is now recovering, but it's also not good at all, because at the peak they were at 23%, and ROA is 9.1, which is terrible. That is because they've done a lot of acquisitions right now. They've taken up a lot of debt. They have a lot of cash even in the bank. So the net debt is all okay. So absolutely fine. Operating cash flows are there. Free cash flows are also there. FCF, which is free cash flow margin, is also there. Now coming to that segmental revenue, the data center revenue from 2 billion has gone up to 8 billion. And as you can see, the data center revenue is the only revenue that is growing very fast, both for Nvidia and for AMD. So this is something that we have to keep a very, very close eye. Obviously, the CEO is very good, so we don't need to look at the management. I'd also done a management integrity assessment report to understand whether the track record of the management is good or bad, right? And don't worry, in the end, I'll show you how much I've invested in these companies as well. So AMD has achieved a leadership position against Intel in the CPU space. Now they're coming at GPU with Nvidia. So now they're going to take out Nvidia's thing. As I said, the MI300X have actually secured multiple deals with Microsoft, Meta, and Oracle, which shows that the market share of the top leader can actually come down if this basically plays out well, right? Coming down, I'll just show you the main parts. So Nvidia is really good because they have a CUDA platform, which is their entire software stack that is there. So it's hardware plus software. AMD is coming up with AMD has their ROCm platform. Again, it's not as good as CUDA. CUDA, the one that I saw in GTC, was just insane. But no, not that good as compared to this, right? Growth drivers, we know. Future catalysts, we're aware of. Potential growth accelerators, again, the same thing. Peer comparison, this is very important. Look at this. The 4-year revenue CAGR of Nvidia is 69, again because Nvidia had significant higher growth and took 94% market share. Same last year growth, Nvidia had 114, whereas AMD had 11%. Revenue scale 130 billion versus 22 billion. That means in my head, there is a huge catch up ability to be done, mainly because if I'm going to take market share from the big guy, that means I'm going to take up a lot of revenue from the big guy as well. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Again, it's a bet. And also I feel today AMD and Nvidia, AMD, Intel and all are at the lowest point as of today. There's only upward journey and not downward journey. But again, contrary to popular belief, it is tech. So tech is very volatile. And as you can see, this emerging player 5% market share versus 85% here, actually 94% over a period of time. So this is where we have to start coming in and taking the position here, right? So what I'm going to do is, don't worry, in the end, if you want this report, I will share this report in the comment section as well, because this is a beautiful deep dive of AMD, Nvidia, not done by me, all done by AI itself, but it's one of the best things. Obviously the prompt was given by me. I have like a 8-page prompt. You would have seen it in one of my earlier AI videos. So I have an 8-page prompt that actually just gets the entire thing for me, right? Forward PE ratio, Nvidia's obviously at a premium. Price to sales ratio, Nvidia's at a premium. So everywhere AMD looks bad, again, because I feel that tomorrow there will be a comeback analysis happening. And this is how the valuation method also comes. So if I look at the bull case, bear case of Nvidia, the way it looks like it, the bull case was showing 130, 150. The bear case was 95, 115. And the bear case was 60, 80. And that is exactly what happened today, right? So if I actually go here and show you what happened with AMD right now, with all the tariff and nonsense happening, look at this. This is how AMD is looking right now. Absolutely in a negative trend, only going down. It has bottomed out over here a little bit. Actually, I thought it bottomed out over here at 95, but clearly after that, another jolt, because that was a long-term support. Now you will see that it has come to this support zone, right? So hopefully we see a comeback playing out here. Obviously, this is not going to happen in the next 1 year or maybe even 2 years. This is going to take a long time. But this, if it starts doing well, just on sentiment alone, the money, smart money will move from Nvidia and come to AMD. That is the hope. And that is what I'm playing on as well. So let me also show you what is the US stocks that I have currently invested in and what it looks like right now, right? You can see that if I click on US stocks, I only have 2 stocks in my portfolio. One is AMD. I think almost $9,500 is what I had bought of AMD. Now it is at 7,400, but this is okay because this is the money that I'm not going to touch for quite a bit, because I know when this comeback happens, it's going to start doing really well. And the next company that I have is Berkshire Hathaway B shares. Only $100 here. The reason why I only have $100 of Berkshire Hathaway B shares is because I want to go and attend the Berkshire annual meeting where Warren Buffett comes and gives a speech next year in US, right? So that is why I've kept this, because if you own a share, you can actually get the pass to go and sit only for shareholders. So that's the only reason why I've kept one share here. But major play is happening on AMD. I'm not going to invest more because when I was investing more, TCA started hitting after 7-8 lakhs. So then 10 lakhs, TCA started hitting. So I didn't want to pay more tax. So I'm just going to stop here. So $10,000 is good. Now let's see how this plays out, because there's a lot of catching up to do for this company as well. And when that catching up happens, then I think the probability of me making money can go up. Again, this is just my investing philosophy, because I see things very differently. Might be false, might be wrong, might be right. I have been wrong multiple times in the past, but this is just something that I'm seeing that will play out. That if AI is going to be so important in the future, then obviously one person cannot have 94% market share in the next 5 years, right? There will be people coming after that 94% market share player. However much ever you innovate, there will be somebody coming after you. So that is exactly what I have taken up here, and I'm taking a small bet on this company AMD. So let's see how it works, because I feel that's the only other proper rival, unless Google and all of them come with their own chips. But I feel AMD will be powering a lot of them as well, because Nvidia might not be everyone's favorite after a point. Somebody would want some unique advantage. Again, this is just one take on it. I want to understand from your perspective first, guys. Do you like me doing US based stock videos? If yes, I can make more videos, make baskets on this. If you don't, then I will stop after this video as well. So it's absolutely up to you. Let me know in the comment section below if you want US videos or not. And I will also share this entire document for anyone who just wants to read and understand what is happening in the GPU space, how Nvidia versus AMD is playing out here, and what's going to happen in the future. I don't know, but let's see, we can find out more and more, right? Also, guys, I would appreciate if all the people who are watching this, please subscribe to the channel, because I know 82% of you guys have not subscribed. If you don't want to subscribe and you feel it's too much effort and you don't want to see my face, no problem. At least click on the like button so that I can look at it and be like, acha chalo, acha kaam kiya thoda. Okay, awesome. This is me, Shashank Udupa, signing off, guys. Take care. See you guys.